Good morning, everyone. I'm Alderman Brendan Riley. I represent the 42nd Ward here in downtown Chicago. Welcome to the 42nd Ward. We're here today to celebrate the opening, the official opening of the Navy Pier Fly-Over. It's a very exciting day. I was just talking with Commissioner Kelly from the Park District and with Alderman Hopkins. This is a project that has actually spanned 3 mayoral administrations. That shows you how much planning and engineering that had to go into this project. It was initiated under Mayor Daley. Much of that was the planning phase, and then the contracts were executed under Mayor Emanuel, and now we have Mayor Lightfoot to thank for delivering this project upon completion. This is an important investment, a legacy investment for the city of Chicago, infrastructure that's going to improve public safety dramatically. It was actually a solution to a problem that's existed here for decades, a conflict between bicycles, pedestrians, and vehicles here at Lower Lakeshore Drive at Grand and Illinois Streets. We all know what a great tourism draw Navy Pier is, bringing millions of visitors to the lakefront every year. We also know how bicycling and outdoor exercise have increased in popularity over the years. As a result, we had an incredible glut of traffic at these locations and a lot of crashes and near misses, hundreds, involving strollers and senior citizens and mobility impaired individuals. And so this is a wonderful solution, a long time in the making. It's a happy day. We're really excited to open this so that all Chicagoans can enjoy our 18-mile ring from north to south along Chicago's lakefront. I want to thank Governor Pritzker and IDOT Secretary Osman, Mayor Lightfoot, CDOT Commissioner Biagi, Park District Superintendent Kelly, and Alderman Hopkins for being here today. And without further ado, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you the Mayor of the City of Chicago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
A beautiful rainy day in Chicago. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Alderman Riley. I'd also like to recognize the other leaders that are here with us today. Illinois Secretary of Transportation, Omar Osmond. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, not only for the work on this project, but for other work across the city. We really appreciate your partnership. Alderman Brian Hopkins, who also has a great stake in the downtown area. Thank you, Alderman Hopkins, for all your work. Commissioner of Department of Transportation, Biaggi, Chicago Park District Superintendent Mike Kelly, Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning Executive Director Aaron Allman, Active Transportation Alliance Executive Director Amy Reinell, Chicago Area Runners Association Executive Director Greg Hipp, Friends of the Major Taylor Trail President Peter Taylor, and Friends of Big Marsh Executive Director Paul Fitzgerald. All these transportation folks are here because our lakefront is so critically important to mobility. Since I became mayor just shy of 2 years ago, one of my highest priorities has been to create a safer Chicago. Now, we think about safety in Chicago in very particular ways, but that safety extends to our streets and making them safer to navigate. Whether you're just walking around in your neighborhoods, crossing the street, or biking or transiting to and from work, all of our residents deserve to feel safe and protected from harm. That's why I'm thrilled to be here today to make this lakefront more of a reality by reopening the Lakefront Trail just in time for summer. And, as Alderman Riley said, cutting the ribbon on the final phase of the flyover, the Navy Pier Fly-Over, which will create 18 miles of uninterrupted lakefront travel from 71st Street all the way up to Hollywood for pedestrians, bikers, and more to enjoy. The lakefront, goes without saying, is our crown jewel. Critically important to our health and well-being, regardless of what part of the city you hail from. Our lakefront and the way in which we have historically safeguarded this precious asset is what sets our city apart from others across the U.S. and across the globe. And the completion of this project will make our lakefront and our city shine that much more brightly. I know this from having had to make the tough decision to shut down the lakefront last year in the middle of the pandemic. I heard from people all over the city about how much they treasured this precious asset. So it's with great humility, but also great pride that we cut the ribbon on this project today. The Navy Pier Fly-Over is a state-of-the-art steel and concrete pedestrian and bike bridge that will not only significantly enhance public safety, but also draw residents and visitors from near and far to our city to provide an incredible, breathtaking view of our iconic skyline. Connect them to our beaches, parks, recreation paths, and museums, and further reinforce the lakefront's reputation as a tourism magnet and economic powerhouse. The flyover will provide ample space for walkers, runners, and bikers to safely coexist along the lakefront, critically important, as it extends for almost half a mile from Jane Addams Park and the Ohio Street Beach to DeSable Harbor on the south side of the Chicago River. This was built in 3 phases, as Alderman Riley said, and I'm happy to be here to mark the completion. Let me also just say that I also want to thank our partners at the federal, state, city, and community level for their advocacy, seeing this project through to the end, and investing in the safety of our residents. I also want to thank the designers and contractors who were brought onto this project for their innovation and hard work, which has won the flyover project several awards and special recognitions, including the American Council of Engineering Companies of Illinois, Lincoln's Grand Conceptor Award, and a spot on Roads and Bridges Magazine's Top 10 Bridge Projects of 2020. We need to celebrate our lakefront and reopening of our city, and having the lakefront here and making sure that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that our lakefront is accessible to our residents, no matter what neighborhood you're from, is critically important. And with that, I introduce CDOT Commissioner Biagi.
All right, there's no bad weather, there's only bad clothing, so I hope you're here. We've got some of our cyclist friends out, some runners out, but thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Alderman Riley and Alderman Hopkins. This is, as the Mayor stated, a great day for Chicago and everybody who loves coming to the lakefront and visiting our city. A special thanks to a couple of groups, and you heard them called out already, but the FHWA, at the federal level, that partnership was absolutely critical. CMAP, you heard Aaron Elliman, especially our great partner. You'll hear from Secretary Osman in a minute. We could not have done this project without IDOT's funding support and on so many other things. And a big thanks to the advocates who are here today as well. We have, as you heard, we have CARA, we have the Active Transportation Alliance, we've got folks from the Major Taylor Cycling Club and the Major Taylor Trail, Big Marsh, We Keep You Rolling, Chicago Family Biking. There are so many folks who have, we need to thank, not only for your patience, but for making this the #1 destination in our city. And especially thanks to our residents who have patiently waited for this. So it is a remarkable project. Let's talk about it. An incredibly complex design and engineering challenge. So it was built in 3 phases, starting in 2014. I think I was like 9 years old. And now it's done, right? It's taken a while, but we did it as funding became available, and we never gave up. We kept pushing forward, and here we are. It's finally done. Chicago works, and this is an example of how we get work done. So, as so many of us who experience the trail, and as you heard, it is a pretty intensely busy part of the trail, this long-awaited improvement, you pair this with the trail separation work that the Park District has been doing, and now we're like seamlessly connecting, as you heard, our lakefront north and south for the hundreds and thousands of people who use it throughout the year. So the first major win, as you heard in the segments, was finishing the part that carries it over, carries the trail over between Illinois and Grand, and that opened at the end of 2018. And that was eliminating those 2 big bottlenecks, right? And if you went on this, you experienced it, where you have bikers and runners and cars, and it's really congested. And we fixed that. And the second piece was tunneling through 2 bridge houses. This is complex, I told you. On the east side of the movable bridge, we had to widen the trail to almost 16 feet from where it was more like 8 feet. So we had in addition to that, widening that segment over the river, we had to retrofit the entire bridge with a cantilever structure. So, you know, we have our bascule bridges that actually they're movable bridges, one of our really points of pride in our city. Before the widening, you're looking at, you know, an 8 to 12 foot span. Now you have a 19.5 to a 21.5 foot span. A ton more room for everybody to get over the trail. If you haven't been up there, please do take a divvy bike, try it out, ride up there. The views are incredible. And what's also incredible is the team that put this together. And it took a coordinated effort of designers and architects, engineers, builders, advocates, and everybody really pulling on the same rope in the same direction. So the designers for phase 1 and 2, that was HNTB and Muller & Muller. The designers for phase 3 were WSP USA. Our prime contractor for phase 1 was FH Passion. The prime contractor for phases 2 and 3 was Granite, and TY Lin was the construction manager. And thank you to all of you for continuously working together. And last, I really need to thank the team at CDOT. I get to be up here at this really important moment, but it's so many folks who really pushed this forward, working so diligently and resourcefully, never giving up to getting this across that finish line. Just a few of the key people: Chief Engineer Dan Burke, Chief Bridge Engineer Luis Benitez, Deputy Commissioner Ozzy Chavez, Chief Construction Engineer Ann Zhang, Lubica Benak from our Project Development Division, who led phases 1 and 2, Moira Kent from our Engineering Division, who led phase 3, and our man on site for most of the time, Project Manager Scott Klosowski. Just an incredible effort, so thank you for everyone who pulled this off. Really amazing. So now I'd like to introduce our good friend and partner, Secretary Osman from the Illinois Department of Transportation.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner, for that great rendition of what this magnificent project is all about, for the great men and women who worked for years to make it happen for us. Thank you, Mayor, Aldermen, Park District, and other stakeholders for coming here today. I am Acting Illinois Transportation Secretary Omar Osmond. This is a project that's long overdue for an important part of this city and this state. We are proud at IDOT to have played a role in connecting and thereby strengthening communities in Chicago. In my time leading the Illinois Department of Transportation, I have come to truly appreciate the relationship we have with the Chicago Department of Transportation and Commissioner Biagi. I'd like to think it is stronger than ever. We owe much of that to Governor Pritzker, Mayor Lightfoot, and their incredible commitment and vision for rebuilding Illinois and Chicago. Projects like these are not just steel and concrete, but a statement in the type of value we place on our communities and cities throughout Illinois. This project, and the scores of others, are commitment in people making this region a better place to build a career or start a family. We need to be making investments like this because become routine if we want to make the city and the state a place where our children and grandchildren want to call home. Congratulations, Chicago, on this magnificent new structure along this beautiful lakefront. A project truly deserving of the ACEC Grand Conceptor Award. I am looking forward to seeing many other ribbon cuttings in the years to come. With that, thank you for having me here today. Thank you.
So I want to thank Secretary Osman for having the sun come out, which the clouds broke and the rain stopped when he started speaking. Happy to take your questions.
Mayor, if you could explain how the lakefront especially, but the parks in general, are going to figure into the city's reopening plan.
Well, I think they're a critical part of our reopening. As I mentioned during my remarks, when we had to take the steps last year to shut down the lakefront, I heard from people all over. And when we reopened it, what I also heard from people is they hadn't recognized how important the lakefront is to their health and well-being. Every shot that you see, whether it's a sports event or something else that features Chicago, there's always a shot from the lake showing our beautiful skyline, but our lakefront. It's critically important to who we are. It's part of our identity. So I'm looking forward not only to reopening the lakefront trail, the conclusion of this long overdue work, but also just reinvigorating the city with life along the lakefront this summer. Go ahead.
Mayor, what other bike-friendly initiatives is your administration working on, and how do you see bicycle transportation in the city?
Well, I think biking is critically important. I'm going to ask Commissioner Biagi to come up because she's the expert on all the things that we're doing regarding biking. But, you know, people are looking for alternative ways to get to and from to really lower their own personal carbon footprint. This started obviously years ago, but we're looking to expand the opportunities for bike dedicated trails all across the city. Commissioner?
Yes, we have a lot of really exciting initiatives in terms of bikeway planning. We'll be adding over 40 additional miles of bikeways in the city. That gets us over the 100 miles that we were going to add in the last 2 years. So that's a very exciting initiative. We're doing tons of work both with protected lanes, but also figuring out where do we have gaps missing in the network. It's one thing, we get the mileage, but we also want to make really great neighborhood networks, and so people can move around their neighborhoods as seamlessly and safely as possible. You add to that the more than 250 pedestrian safety improvements we did during COVID this past year. You'll see more of those coming forward. It's all about finding ways to make it as easy and safe as possible for people to move around both their neighborhood, get to and from work, to and from school in a non-motorized way.
So many years in the making, why was this such a priority to finally get this done? Well,
I think for the reasons that we've been talking about. You can see how much people use the lakefront on a day in and day out basis, and deconflicting the walkers from the runners, from the bikers. We thought this was just really critically important. Obviously, credit goes starting with Mayor Daley because the planning really started there. Mayor Rahm Emanuel really also continued to make the investments, and I'm happy to be a part of this for the capstone of this important investment. But people really use the lakefront in incredible ways. As I said, whether it's walking, whether it's biking, whether it's going out and exercising, or just being out and seeing our beautiful lake. So making sure that people can do that safely, very important. Any other questions?
Hey, Mayor Lightfoot. I'm calling Block Club Chicago just to follow up for my questions last week for a story that we're doing. When will the city start surveying city employees about if they've been vaccinated, and if the city has any estimate of how many city workers have gotten their shots?
I can't give you those estimates off the top of my head, but I'll make sure that somebody reaches out. Look, we have been pushing vaccines. We've had specific vaccine dedicated to city workers. We're going to be bringing people back, and it's our hope that as many people will take advantage of this life-saving vaccine as possible. But we want to maximize the opportunities for city workers in particular to get vaccinated. So we'll continue to educate and do outreach to bring people into coverage with the vaccine.
Absolutely. And just to follow up, is the city doing anything to incentivize vaccination among city workers and making it easier for them to get their shots?
Well, we have made it, I think, very easy for city workers to get their shots, not only at city-specific sponsored sites all across the city, but now there's more vaccine. We've had the most vaccine that we've had since we began vaccinating people back in December. So it's really literally at your fingertips in every neighborhood. Walgreens and some of the other pharmacies have, Jewel Osco and CVS have been tremendous partners for us. They're covered in most areas of the city, and where they're not, we've got other opportunities for people to get vaccine. We'll probably have some other initiatives back in City Hall once we get more workers back. But we're not resting. We're not where we need to be when it comes to vaccine. So we've got more work to do. My view is city workers really have to lead in doing that work. We've got to set the example for others to follow. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.